So last week we talked about the tug of war going on in the market, and that's still occurring, but we are also ending a quarter, we're beginning a new quarter, we're kind of getting past a month that's typically speaking not a very good month for the market. So there's a lot of things that are occurring right now, and one of the things we're going to do a deep dive on in this episode is talking about change of character. So stick with me as we get into the weeds. My name is Brian Cannon, and welcome to Markets in 5. So before I dive into the discussion of a change of character, I'd like to spend just a few minutes kind of updating everybody on the market. So from a technical perspective, the S&P 500 is still making higher highs and higher lows, and we've definitely held the support line as of late. So technically speaking, we're in good shape. I mean, obviously we watch it all the time, but if there's anything that needs to occur, right now we're not seeing any sort of major shift or change that we need to go into a major protection mode. Of course, there's been a rotation of stocks, and of course there's been a tug of war that we talked about over this last several weeks. But from a technical standpoint, just on the S&P 500, we're in good shape. Now, when we look at the NASDAQ relative to the S&P, you can kind of see where it outperformed during the pandemic and then kind of has gone on a stall. But it is definitely at support, so there's definitely major support there. It looks like it might hold, and this is something we're watching very clearly, because obviously if the NASDAQ starts to turn up and really starts to outperform the S&P 500, we want to make sure that we're properly positioned in the stocks that are outperforming inside of that inside of the NASDAQ. Now, when we get into change of character, there's a lot of things that we look at, and so I'm going to walk through an example here. So you've all heard of Peloton stock, and of course that's the bicycle at-home gym, with the gyms all shutting down during the pandemic. So companies like Peloton and Zoom and a lot of these at-home work type plays did very well during the pandemic, and then since then you can kind of see it's rolled over. But what's interesting here is you've got a very hard level of support here in the blue line. So we came down, we tested it a couple times, it went back up, we tested it, we've tested it. So now we're at this, it's almost like it's a wedge that's occurring, and I equate it to like someone that's tightening a rubber band. You're tighten, and eventually you're going to let it go, and it's either going to snap up or it's going to snap down. And so you can see this winding effect here on the stock. It's just becoming kind of a wedge in, and so it's either going to break to the upside or it's going to break to the downside. Now, what's interesting when we talk about change of character, we look for clues to kind of understand is the likelihood of it to break up, or is the likelihood of it to break down. And so in looking at the RSI, the relative strength index, you can see that even though the stock is kind of at the low and it's double bottomed here, you're starting to see the RSI level begin to rise. So that's kind of an interesting clue to kind of say, well, it might be breaking to the upside here. So we want to know we're watching this. We want to make sure that this stock breaks above this resistance here. That's going to be very important. That it holds the support line here. That's going to be very important. So is there a character change taking place? I think there is. Especially when you look at the PPO, the price percentage oscillator, it's starting to turn up. And then also the accumulation distribution, you're seeing the stock is being accumulated. So there's, again, we look at the weight of the evidence. We don't take just one signal or one sign and act on it. We want to see multiple things. We want to see the case lining up to support our idea that the stock's going to go one way or the other. So this is a stock that looks like, to me, the character change is telling us that it could break to the upside. Of course, there's no guarantees, but there's a lot of setups like this that we're looking at that we plan to be acting on here shortly. So in wrapping up, I know that can be some pretty heavy stuff, but just know that we're using technical signs to help us to identify, is a stock having a character change? Are they, heading one direction and it looks like they're starting to head another? Of course, there's no guarantees, but if you have any further questions or like to do a deeper dive with me personally, by all means, give me a call. So again, my name is Brian Cannon, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Markets in 5.